Hello and welcome to Cricketomania. We are talking on an unusual day, if that's the right word here if I had to use with my guests here. Well, Pakistan versus West Indies. West Indies, not much to talk about, unfortunately. Pakistan taking a sip. There are other words being used, which I will not use them because the was perhaps so bad against Pakistan and perhaps in favor of West Indies. Teams are actually not so strong. How do you want to go first?
I think it was a battle between two sides in complete disarray, and the side which is much more in disarray, that's Pakistan, lost very heavily. West Indies, on the other hand, have managed to get back some of the respect that they deserve, and they had a very good day, very good win. Massive win, 150-run win, and I think that will do a huge morale booster for West Indies, and Pakistan is completely deflated now.
Right, so Pakistan is deflated. Ayaz, you know, I can see records already being broken, but all the wrong ones. You know, 4 wickets down for 1 run, for example, but there should be others as well. Right, I don't think we seem to have got Ayaz. So let's look at some of the stats, Chandesh. So one round, I mean, is it happened any time before in your mind?
It's not happened. The previous time it happened was. So you can imagine the level of destruction that Pakistan had today, and it also points to the complete lack of approach from the top order of Pakistan and the complete lack of order of Pakistan. I think the problem stems from the fact that they don't know what to do with Yunus Khan. They make him open, and then number 3, the poor guy doesn't find merit a place in this one-day 11, and everything seems to be revolving around how to fit that guy in because he's a senior pro.
Right, and remember, this is about heroes and zeros. As we're going to come back very soon and talk about the heroes that you've polled and the zeros as well. And perhaps the answers are not too difficult to guess, but let's go through the whole process. So let's begin with the West Indies batting. So what are the key highlights, Chandesh?
I think the West Indies batting, I think the biggest highlight for me was the batting of Dinesh Ramdin. He's someone who's really stood out in the last 10 years. He's been in the side. He's been like the only constant factor in the side. I think he stood out for me, and Lendl Simmons also has been in very good form. So I think, in my view, Dinesh Ramdin was the one who stood out for me. But I'm sure many would.
They had both Russell and Ramdin had very high strike rates.
Very good, very high strike rate. Russell is the X factor of the West Indies lineup, but I think at some level Ramdin set the tone for the West Indies score, and the fact that they reached 310 is a testimony to the effort put in by Ramdin, Darren Bravo, and also Lendl Simmons.
Right. So Ayaz, what do you think? I mean, you know, we've been talking about how Pakistan has been decimated. That part is very clear. Also, records being set, but all the wrong ones, at least for Pakistan. What's your takeaway? Why did this happen? Okay, we still don't seem to have Ayaz. Tell me, so let's come back to the strike rates, right? So you said Dinesh Ramdin and Andre Russell again scored very well. 89 runs were scored in 6 overs by the West Indies. So what happened for West Indies, and what happened in the sense against Pakistan? Why did they not? Why did they lose the plot?
I think Pakistan lost the plot because they didn't know how to bowl in the slog overs, and I've seen that previously with Wahab Riaz, especially against West Indies a couple of years ago in West Indies, when they allowed a 10th wicket partnership to score about 40 runs to win a match. So I think at some level Pakistan lost the plot, and they didn't know how to tackle the death overs, and that made the huge difference. And from there on, West Indies just kept piling up Pakistan when they were batting as well, and I think the lengths were not correct. Both Sohail Khan, Wahab Riaz really struggled at the death overs, and and they were in complete disarray. You could see that in the way they fielded, they dropped catches, and it was a completely by the Pakistan side.
Right, and Misbah said that they lost in all 3 departments.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
Bowling, fielding, batting. So that's the West Indies side. Let's look at Pakistan, right? I know there's not much to talk about, but still, I mean, at least there were 1 or 2 good scoring rounds, and let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Umar Akmal is a talent who needs to deliver much more, but I think that Pakistan has got confused about how to deal with him, because he likes to bat up the order,
Yeah.
and they keep pushing him down the order and make him keep wickets. And I think that's a mistake that they are making. I think they need to push him up the order, make him play at number 4, give him more responsibility, and get more out of him. And some of the others like Afridi hung around for a bit, and but the failure really lies at the top of the order. I think Ahmed Shahzad needs to stand up and be counted. He's been around for like 4-5 years now, and he's not really delivering. He likes to call Virat Kohli of Pakistan, but he never delivers like Virat Kohli. And Yunus Khan, for example, in the last 6 years has got just 2 one-day hundreds. So that shows the level of impact that Yunus Khan has had in one-day cricket. He's very good in test matches, but in one-day cricket he really struggles. So I think the overall approach of Pakistan needs to change. There's no quick fix solution for Pakistan now. And I think the major thing is that they need to push in Sarfraz Ahmed, who's a wicket keeper, and make Umar Akmal bat at number 4 now, from now on.
Right. So Ayaz, are you there with us? Okay, right. So we can't, but we've been trying to get him as we count down to the heroes and zeros. So going on to the Pakistan thing, what about the West Indies bowling for against Pakistan?
West Indies bowling, Jerome Taylor, fantastic. I think I saw him in 2006 here in Bombay, bowling a dream spell in the Champions Trophy. And after that, he just went off the boil, and he wasn't really at his best again. But he's finally found his mojo, as it were. And today really struck early and bowled at very good pace. I think that's a very good sign for West Indies, because Jerome Taylor is a key factor in their bowling lineup, because he has that pace and he swings the ball and he's very good.
Right. So both teams, that's West Indies and Pakistan, seem to be obviously having a newer crop of players compared to some of the others, and that's why perhaps they are at a disadvantage. Also, there seems to be questions about leadership, whether it's at the coach level or at the captain level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. West Indies more so than Pakistan. Pakistan has had a settled captain for the last 4-5 years in Misbah.
Coach?
Coach Waqar Younis came back after he quit in 2011. So they have had some issues there. Fielding coach has had a fight with the senior players, and that I think at some level that resulted in the you saw
so many drop
catches, easy catches dropped. And the younger players were at fault. And similarly with West Indies, they've had Jason Holder being put into the role of captaincy, albeit by default, because they don't have the other senior players and they don't want to give the role to, say, a Chris Gayle. And they don't have a full-time coach. So they are working on the basis of inputs by Richie Richardson, who's the manager, and Curtly Ambrose as a consultant. So basically both sides are in a state of flux right now, and this tournament in many ways will give a pointer towards the future of both sides, especially Pakistan, because Misbah is going to go away at the end of the tournament and they would need a new crop of players and a new captain, and it's going to be complete mayhem after that.
Right. Okay. So we'll come back to the heroes and zeros, of course, but we've also got the India versus West Indies match coming up. So let's quickly go over where we stand on that.
South Africa has always beaten India thrice that we have played them. And India will always be looking for an opportunity to beat them tomorrow. It will be a tough challenge for India, because South Africa has a very good side and deep batting lineup, and India's bowling will be called into question tomorrow, and they'll be really tested tomorrow at the MCG.
Ayaz, have you finally joined us?
I have, Govind.
Yeah, okay. Ayaz, hi. So we're counting down to the heroes and zeros of the Pakistan-West Indies match. So what's your broader sense? Why did it for Pakistan?
You know, I think they're just not prepared mentally and physically. I mean, in terms of temperament. Look, I mean, any side which puts down catches consistently in match after match is going to be in serious trouble. I just think that, you know, this team is in disarray, and they've got too many players, I think, who are perhaps over the hill, which is pretty much the case also with the West Indies. I mean, you look at the way Chris Gayle and Dwayne Smith have approached their task, and you would think that today's game, World Cup and an international match, you would think it was a spoof. The manner in which the matches were put down, and then chasing 310 on that pitch wasn't an impossible task, but Pakistan was wickets down in the first 3 overs.
I completely agree with him. I think at some level, fielding was a major villain for Pakistan, and it showed the complete lack of cohesiveness in the unit, I think, at some level. And I think that's the main reason why Pakistan find themselves in a spot of bother right now, and they have a major issue now going ahead in the tournament.
Right. Ayaz, we are counting down to the heroes and zeros. So do you have any picks for the zeros first?
Well, I think that the West Indies have come out of the ICU in their pool, and Pakistan have entered the ICU. So I mean, in a sense, the entire Pakistan team is has been culpable. I thought that the bowlers tried their best, especially Mohammad Irfan. Look, the bowlers can at best create opportunities. Not every batsman can be clean bowled. So you have to have the fielding support. Pakistan just didn't have that, the wherewithal to kind of give them that support. But if you ask me, the top four batsmen certainly were guilty. It's not that the West Indies bowled very well. They did. A couple of deliveries which got unit was a terrific delivery. But when you're chasing 310, you can't do it, in a harebrained manner. There has to be some kind of a plan. And there just seems to be nothing, in evidence as yet that there is some thought going into what Pakistan is doing.
Right. So who's your pick, Ayaz? I'm not sure I got that.
So my pick for the hero would be Andre Russell. That's a no, because he batted well, he bowled well. And
What about the zero first?
from Pakistan's point of view, I thought that Yunus Khan to me has been the big disappointment. He's been the big Z, and he was brought into this team to provide top of the order, which he failed to do.
Right. Okay. What's yours, Chandresh?
My zero of the day was Ahmed Shehzad, because I think much is expected of him, but he's not delivering on his potential. And he also dropped catches, so I think, and misfielded as well. So I would go with Ahmed Shehzad, and my hero of the day was obviously Dinesh Ramdin.
Okay, so I'll come back to hero in a moment. So let's look at what the viewers told us. Yunus Khan wins hands down, because I mean the gap between him and Sohail Khan is quite substantial. Is at 46%, Sohail Khan is at 26%. We are asking obviously to vote for zeros. So and Ayaz gets the veto, so and the majority vote. So Yunus Khan it is as the zero of the day. Let's talk about heroes now. Ayaz, you first.
Well, as I mentioned, Andre Russell. Look, he's been threatening to become a major player for the past 4 or 5 years. We've seen some of it in the IPL when he plays for KKR and stuff. He can be an explosive player. He's like most West Indians nowadays, very inconsistent. Maybe this is the turning point of his career.
Okay, who's yours?
My hero of the day is Dinesh Ramdin.
Okay.
I think he's quite a character, and he's been one constant factor, like I mentioned earlier, in the West Indies side for the past decade. And he set the tone. His knock 51, I think it set the tone, and he's been in good form with the bat in Test matches and ODI cricket. I'm surprised that he's not the ODI captain. In my view, he should be the ODI captain ahead of Jason Holder, and I think he set the tone. So I would go with him as the hero of the day.
Okay, so let's hold the hero thing for a little longer, because there's the viewer response is again interesting, and huge gap between the number 1 and number 2. But before we do that, India South Africa coming up tomorrow. What's your sense, Ayaz? I know we've been talking about it, and saying that we won a match against
South Africa in the World Cup.
Against South Africa in the World Cup. So where do we stand today?
Well, the stats are loaded against you. If you look at it historically, India doesn't figure very high. But I think actually that the South Africans are beatable. I think that's what this showed. Look, they've got a lot of batting. They've got excellent bowlers. They're perhaps the best fielding side in the tournament. And yet, India still ranked number 2 in the ICC. Now, these rankings can go a little haywire. But I think what India will take from the match against Pakistan is that their bowlers bowled really well and the fielding was top class. If they can sustain this form in the bowling and fielding, then I still think our batting is good enough to match the South Africans. And that's really, brings them very close to what the South Africans are capable of. I think ultimately you have to enter the field believing that the South Africans are beatable. If you don't believe that, then you've lost the match in the mind before you've taken the field.
Okay, and that's something that we'll have to watch out for.
And one thing to note is that in the last 3 ICC tournaments, in both 2020 and 1 in South Africa. So that's a good positive note.
So only the World Cup stats are loaded against us, but not the ICC, of which Chandresh has been an honourable member in the past. So okay, so time to close now. Anything else for tomorrow's match, Chandresh?
I think
what's the one thing that you're going to be watching out for?
Quinton de Kock, whether he manages to get the 4th 100. He's already scored 3 in 3 against India. So if tomorrow we manage to stop Quinton de Kock, that's half the battle won for Dhoni.
Ayaz, you're the one thing that you're looking out for?
From a purely selfish point of view, I want a brief but a good partnership of between Villiers. I think these two together rock. but I don't want them to bat so long that they just completely demolish India.
Right. So we're definitely looking forward to some great cricket. The viewer's choice for hero of the day is Andre Russell. Jerome Taylor is 28%. So Yunus Khan at 46%, 0 Andre Russell, 67% hero. So there you are, and there's the West Indies doing what it looks like a high-fi at the end of it all. So is this the match moment?
Yeah, I think this is the
match moment.
Yeah, because you've got Dinesh Ramjan and Jason Holder celebrating the fall of yet another wicket. It's the traditional West Indies style of celebration where they just give it everything while they're celebrating. It's good to see them laughing and having a good time on the field, because
which they were not just a few hours ago, literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a day ago.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. We've run out of time. We're going to be back after the India-South Africa match, and it promises to be interesting. If nothing else, as both our partners here have told us, some terrific cricket to watch out for and some partnerships. Thanks for watching.